Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our live. It was taking a second. It kept going around and around. It wasn't showing. I'm checking the audio. Am I on? Am I on? Yes. Okay. So we're good to go. It was acting funny. So I wanted to check that. So good morning. I am Heather. We come to you live each and every day, Monday through Thursday. So you learn about LUMINESS, what we have to offer, anything and everything. I obviously start with no makeup on, and then we go through and learn about LUMINESS. And so I labeled this one, "How is your airbrush journey going?" or "How is your airbrushing going?" Because I know that, hey Lori, I know that people that first start, hey Andrea, um, they're putting airbrush on like traditional makeup. They're not doing it the correct way. And so what we do in these lives is I show you the correct way to airbrush, because it is kind of retraining our brain into thinking LUMINESS versus traditional makeup, because people are like, oh, I can airbrush, but they're putting way too much on. So when you're applying the makeup, it should never feel wet or sticky. It should feel like your natural skin. It should never look cakey, all of that. And so those are things that you have to kind of navigate through to make sure that you are doing it correctly. My Halloween was great. How was y'all's? We had a lot of trick-or-treaters, like a lot. Normally, I don't know, it just seemed like to be a lot more this year. And in my neighborhood, they really like go all out. They will, like, streets put on a big thing. Like, it is crazy. So it was fun to see everything, to have fun. Like, there's one street that they do, one house will do gumbo and Frito pies, and another house does like popcorn and hot chocolate, and then another house does like hot dog. Like, it's this huge thing. It's really fun. So the kids had fun, so that's what matters. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, I'll probably I'll use my traditional concealer that I did bring, because with airbrush, it's not the all or nothing. Remember, you can do traditional makeup, if I can find it, traditional makeup with airbrush. And so that's another reason I love it. Good morning, Veronica. That's another reason I love it, just because, especially under the eyes, if you spray too heavy under the eyes, it's going to look cakey. It's going to look too much. And so if you can get the foundation down and perfect that, then you can use, this is sticking out and it's really bothering me. Okay. You can use a traditional concealer and then just airbrush over that until you get better at airbrushing, because every time you have this in your hands, you're learning. You're going to learn something each and every day. And then pretty soon you'll be like, you don't even have to think about it. You just know what to do. Oh, really? That's weird. I don't know why. All right. So I do like to put concealer on with a natural brush. I will put it on. And like, you can already tell, like, this is traditional makeup, right? So you put it on, you have that demarcation line, or you see the opaqueness, but then you have to blend it. And that's why I do like using a natural hairbrush, because most concealer brushes are so like stiff that I don't want to pull. I'm noticing a lot of wrinkles and crinkles around my eyes and under my eyes and stuff. So I don't want to pull heavy on that under eye area, because that's real thin and we need to be very delicate with it. And so, I mean, guys, look, you see, I'm like blending, like all over. I'm not just sticking like right here. I blend it down. I'm going to cover that with the airbrush makeup. Okay. So that's fine. what it'll end up doing is giving me a little bit more of a polished look, a little bit more of a made up look, but not that thick, heavy, cakey look, if that makes sense. And then I can even use it on my lid as like a primer. Okay, and I get it in my creases around my nose. My nose is always red. So I use my concealer because and the reason I'm blending it out is because I want it thin. I don't want it thick. I don't want it cakey feeling. I want it very thin feeling. And so blending this and moving it around is doing that. It's helping me thin that out a little bit, but where I still have that coverage. Now, the other thing, let me see if I have any powder. Not really, but the other thing you would want to do is powder this because it is traditional and it is the one I'm using is kind of a cream. And so I want to set it. Now, that's all I need to do. Like that's how much powder I needed. So when it's very little powder. It's just to set it. If you have like a translucent powder, you can just literally dip your brush in, tap it off, and bloop, bloop, that's it. That's it. That's fine. You don't need a lot by any means, okay? So now, like, what do I want to do now? Does it? I'll go in and do, I'll do a little bit of the matte bronzer, and I'm not going to contour a lot. I'm going to contour very light. So I'm only going to use about 2 drops of my matte bronzer. Now, I'll show you. The matte bronzer is super dark. So if I spray too heavy, it's going to look too dark. But how airbrush makeup goes on, it's like little pixels. So if I kept going, it'll get darker. But if I just need a little bit, it'll be light enough. That my concealer, no, honestly, I don't remember where I got it. It's probably one that I'm just drawing out. All right, so now I'm going to take my contouring, and so I'm going to contour, you know, like here. I'm going over my traditional concealer. And see, how, very light. Down my neck, of course. Probably more down there. Get rid of that chin. And that's all I'm going to do. So I'm doing it very, very light. Because when you contour, because we know we've had a lot of people that never contoured, and then we started doing some contouring, and then they were like, oh, I'll try it out. And they started contouring, they love it. But you don't have to go from like 1 to 100, you know, you can take baby steps. So you can even contour with a shade or 2 darker than your foundation shade, and that's enough contouring for you. You don't have to do major harsh contouring by any means. All right, so now I'm going to add a little bit of blush. And then, Andrea, did I say hi to you? I can't remember if I did or not. And I'm going right above that contour. And that's it. That is all. Now we know that our blush does bloom. So a little bit does go a long way. I am going to run some water through this just because I went from the dark brown matte to a blush. So I'm just not really cleaning it, but just running water through. Now, I still don't have my 3, so I'm going to mix shade 5 and 2. Yeah, the concealers, most concealers are not going to have an oil base when you're using them. But yeah, if you'll definitely want to use a oil-free. I had to take the top off, so I did a couple of drops of the 2. Is this 2? Yeah. And then shaking up my 3. Just kidding, the 5. Put a couple drops of that. Now I'm going to mix those together by turning it on, blocking the air, letting it bubble. Sounds like I'm screaming or something. And then I can close that down. Now I have my tissue. When I change colors, I always blow it on a tissue first, just so I know that that's the color I'm getting, and doing it that way. So making my passes. I make one complete pass, and then I go in and cover anything that I need to cover. Can blend it down here, but because we know our face doesn't stop here, right? We need to blend it all the way down. I now have some sunspots here that I want to get. And then that's all the coverage I need. Now I'm going to blow the rest of that product out. I can put, this is water that I have in here. So I have water. And I'm just blowing that out. Doing a little bit of back bubbling and blowing it out. All right. So there we are, clean. Now, so already I have contour, blush, foundation, all of that already on. Put all my bottles up. So the only thing that I have left is foundation and eyeshadow and lips, because everything else was done with airbrush in a touchless way except the concealer. So again, if you are just doing the foundation, you can do a regular concealer. You can do the foundation with airbrush. You can add a, you can contour with like the Cut 1 palette or the Cut 2 palette. You can do regular blush if you want. It's up to you. But I always say, oops, sorry guys, hold on. I always tell people, like, you need to push it. So we'll get comfortable doing what we do, but you want to push it a little bit so that, you're learning more, right? We always want to learn. We always want to get better at what we do. So we have to push the envelope a little. All right. So now I always teach you guys, like, you don't need a lot to make it look amazing. And so remember that I already have concealer on my lids. So that works as a, like a primer. But because it's the concealer, it also gives me kind of a natural highlight, like a neutral highlight on my lid. So I can work with just one color because I already have it light. So if I want to go in and just do something in my crease, I can do that and get away with it because I already have the contrasting color. Does that make sense? So to show you this, I'm going to use the black in the Nude and Note palette. And, you know, we think of black as being very, oh, that's going to be some drama and smoky eye. It does not have to be a smoky eye. I'm using the blending brush and I put it down right like that, knock off the extra. And then I'm just going to start it right here because wherever that first hit is where most of the makeup's going to go. Now, depending on the look I want, I can just stay right here. And that's not a smoky eye at all, but I'm still using the black. Let's go to this side. So I'm not moving it. I'm just making almost a V shape, but I never pick up the brush. So I'm just like bam, back and forth without picking up the brush. Now, if I wanted to go a little bit, and of course we would blend this out. Right now, I'm just adding that color. Okay, so this, I mean, you can definitely do it just like that, but you want all these harsh edges, you want to blend. So I go back and start making my strokes a little bit bigger. And I'm taking, I have a Q-tip here, or Q-tip paper, Kleenex, whatever this thing's called. Okay. And so again, not a big old smoky eye, but it is giving me some drama. Now, if I look at this and I'm like, oh, that's a too bright, too dark, or whatever the case may be, I can go in and take a lighter color, the color of my concealer basically, and go in and put it there, and then it's going to soften it. So working in that kind of reverse order, normally we'd go in and do an overall neutral color, then come in and bring the crease. If we do the crease first, we're able to use that to soften the look a bit. So you don't have to worry about it getting too much, or just start off slow and then you can keep adding if you want. Now I can take my brush, my angle brush, and line underneath. I'm actually lining with the dark brown. I did use the black on the lid. But then the dark brown. And so looking straight into a mirror, you can tell like there's a little harsh edge there. So I can kind of bump that up a little bit. Can blend it. And blend that away. And there you go. And then finishing that off with mascara, I'll be set. Now, let's see. Now I'll take my Ballet Pink. A little does go a long way. And there we go. Done and doner. So it really is easy, guys. With airbrushing, you want to make sure you're doing it the right way. If it feels wet or sticky, then you know that you're spraying too heavy. Just go lighter on that trigger. If you get a hot spot, like it goes, tap it out and then just keep going. You really, honestly, you can't make mistakes. And so, but practice makes perfect. You're going to practice. You're going to learn how it works. And every time you have this guy in your hand, you're learning and you're getting better and better. So don't give up. It'll be amazing. And it does everything we say it's going to do. You just have to make sure you're airbrushing the correct way. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this Thursday. I hope everybody has a great day today, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.